Welcome to our deep dive today. We're going to be talking about the history of Pakistan.
Okay.
And we've got this really cool video called Pakistan's History in 5 Minutes. And it's animated.
Nice.
It's pretty cool. But as you can guess, it goes really fast.
Yeah, 5 minutes for all of Pakistan's history.
Exactly. So our mission is to kind of slow things down and dig a little deeper into all those highlights.
Yeah, unpack it a bit.
Yeah, exactly. And give you a much more solid grasp of this country and its history.
Sounds good.
Okay, cool. So let's rewind the clock way back to the Indus Valley civilization.
All right.
Now, I've heard about Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa, but what made their urban planning so advanced? I mean, we're talking over 5,000 years ago.
I know, it's incredible, right? They weren't just organized, they were sophisticated.
Really?
Like grid systems, sanitation, public bath. Can you imagine 5,000 years ago?
Wow.
Right, and they had this complex trade network that stretched all the way to Mesopotamia.
Wow.
And their art and craftsmanship were so intricate.
It's amazing how such an advanced civilization could decline, though.
Yeah.
What do historians think happened?
Well, that is the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
There are a lot of theories out there. Some say climate change, shifting river patterns, maybe even invasions.
Oh, wow.
But the decline of the Indus Valley civilization, it really created this vacuum.
Oh, I see.
And over the centuries, new groups came onto the scene, each adding their own chapter to the region's history.
Oh, this was like a historical relay race.
Yeah, you could say that.
So who are some of these key players that entered the scene?
We have the Aryans, and they brought with them the foundations of Hinduism.
Okay.
Then you've got the Persians sweeping in with their own imperial ambitions, their administration, and even Alexander the Great.
Really?
Yeah, marched through in the 4th century BCE, but his influence was relatively short-lived.
Okay.
But each of these groups, they brought their own culture, language, ideas, layering them onto the region's already diverse heritage.
Wow, so many layers of history. And then, of course, there's the arrival of Islam in the 8th century CE.
Right.
This had to have been a major turning point.
Absolutely. It was introduced through Arab traders and conquerors, and its impact was profound.
I bet.
I mean, it wasn't just a religious shift, it reshaped the political and social landscape.
Wow.
Yeah, and the influence of Islam is woven deep into the fabric of Pakistani culture even today.
That's incredible how these early influences still resonate.
Yeah.
But let's fast forward a bit
Okay.
to the Mughal Empire.
All right.
When I think of the Mughals, I think opulence, grandeur. Am I on the right track?
You are absolutely right. The Mughal era was a golden age.
It was.
Oh, yeah. They were known for their magnificent courts, patronage of the arts, incredible architectural achievements.
Cool.
Cities like Lahore with its stunning Badshahi Mosque and Thatta, a global hub for trade. They flourished under Mughal rule.
I see.
And their architectural style, it was this beautiful blend of Islamic Persian and Indian elements.
Oh, wow.
They were masters of detail and craftsmanship.
Speaking of Mughal extravagance, I was reading that Emperor Jahangir,
Oh, yeah.
he created an entire garden just to cultivate mangoes
Really?
for his wife, Nur Jahan.
Wow, talk about a romantic gesture.
That's amazing. But all good things must come to an end, right? What led to the decline of the Mughals?
Well, like all empires, they had internal conflicts and ambitious rivals, but a really critical factor was the arrival of a new force on the subcontinent, the British East India Company.
Here's where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
How did a trading company gain so much power?
It's a classic example of, economic power evolving into political domination.
Oh, wow.
The British East India Company, initially they were focused on trade, but they cleverly exploited existing rivalries.
Oh.
And they just gradually expanded their influence.
Oh.
And by 1857, the British Crown formally took control, ushering in an era of British rule that lasted for almost a century.
I can only imagine that sparked quite a bit of resistance.
Of course, Indians from all walks of life, including Muslims, they fought against British rule.
Yeah.
But during this time, another movement started to take root,
Okay.
the idea of a separate Muslim state within India.
And this is where Muhammad Ali Jinnah enters the picture.
Exactly. He was a brilliant lawyer and charismatic leader, headed the All India Muslim League.
Okay.
And he became the leading voice advocating for this separate Muslim homeland. But, as tensions between Hindus and Muslims escalated,
Yeah.
the call for an entirely independent nation gained more traction.
So how did this push for a separate nation eventually lead to the creation of Pakistan? What was the breaking point?
Well, the breaking point was the 1947 partition of British India.
Oh, wow.
It was a tremendously tumultuous period.
Yeah.
marked by widespread violence and displacement as millions of people were forced to migrate across newly drawn borders.
Oh, gosh.
And this event, the birth of two independent nations, India and Pakistan, it continues to cast a long shadow on their relationship even today.
Wow, it's hard to imagine the upheaval and trauma that people must have experienced during that time.
Right.
So Pakistan emerged as an independent nation, but it wasn't one contiguous piece of land, right?
That's right.
It was divided into two wings, separated by India.
Right.
Why was that?
That's right. Pakistan was born with this unique geographical challenge, East and West Pakistan, separated by over 1,000 miles of Indian territory.
Wow.
And this physical separation just exacerbated the cultural and political differences between the two wings.
Oh, see.
They had different languages, traditions, political aspirations, making it incredibly difficult to forge a unified national identity.
It sounds like a recipe for tension and instability.
It was.
Did this geographical divide ultimately contribute to the separation of East Pakistan?
It definitely played a significant role in 1971 after years of simmering tensions and a brutal 9-month war. East Pakistan seceded, becoming the independent nation of Bangladesh.
Gosh.
It was a moment of profound national trauma and loss for Pakistan.
Good enough.
But it also highlighted the importance of recognizing and respecting regional identities within a larger national framework.
So Pakistan faced a mountain of challenges in its early years. The trauma of partition wars with India, and then the loss of East Pakistan. How did the nation cope with such adversity?
It's a testament to the resilience of the Pakistani people, you know.
I bet.
They pressed on, determined to build their nation despite these setbacks in the 1970s. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto emerged as a charismatic leader.
Okay.
And he introduced what were called socialist reforms, aiming to reshape Pakistan's political and economic landscape.
Socialist reforms, could you unpack that a bit? What did those reforms entail and what was their impact?
Well, Bhutto's reforms focused on nationalizing industries, investing in social programs, and empowering the working class.
Okay.
He aimed to reduce economic inequality and create a more equitable society.
That makes sense.
While his agenda was ambitious, it sparked controversy and faced opposition from those who saw it as a threat to their interests.
It sounds like a turbulent period. Did Bhutto's reforms ultimately succeed in achieving their goals?
Well, Bhutto's tenure was marked by both progress and turmoil. While he made strides in certain areas, he also faced accusations of authoritarianism and corruption.
Yeah.
Ultimately, in 1977, he was ousted in a military coup led by General Zia-ul-Haq.
Oh, wow. So a military coup. What were the consequences of that shift in power? What did General Zia's rule mean for Pakistan?
General Zia pursued a policy of Islamization, aiming to strengthen the role of Islam in Pakistani society and law.
Okay.
He introduced stricter interpretations of Islamic law and sought to align the country's legal and social framework with his vision of an Islamic state.
That sounds like a pretty dramatic change. How did people react to these Islamization policies? Were they universally accepted?
Zia's policies were undeniably controversial.
I bet.
Some viewed them as a necessary step towards solidifying Pakistan's Islamic identity, while others saw them as an attempt to consolidate power and control. And this debate over the role of Islam in public life has continued to be a major fault line in Pakistani politics even today.
So Pakistan went through this period of socialist reforms under Bhutto, and then a shift towards Islamization under General Zia.
Right.
It seems like there was this constant push and pull between different ideologies and visions for the country. Did that continue?
Absolutely. Throughout this period, there was this ongoing struggle between democratic forces and military rule.
Wow.
You had figures like Benazir Bhutto, daughter of Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, who became the first female prime minister of a Muslim-majority country in 1988.
Oh, wow.
And then there was Nawaz Sharif, who also served multiple terms as prime minister, but both of them faced challenges and pushback from the powerful military establishment.
It sounds like a period of political instability. Was Pakistan able to find any semblance of stability during this time?
It was indeed a period marked by political instability, coups, assassinations, and a revolving door of leaders.
Oh, my God.
This tension between civilian and military power has been a persistent theme in Pakistan's history and continues to influence its political landscape today.
So Pakistan entered the 21st century having faced numerous challenges: partition wars, internal conflicts, political instability. What new hurdles emerged in this new era?
As the world entered the 21st century, Pakistan found itself confronting a whole new set of challenges. The rise of extremist groups like the Taliban and Al-Qaeda, particularly after 9/11, and the U.S.-led war in Afghanistan had a profound impact.
That makes sense. How did this global shift towards combating terrorism affect Pakistan specifically?
Pakistan became a frontline state in the so-called War on Terror, facing intense pressure from both internal and external forces.
Yeah.
It found itself caught in a complex geopolitical web, balancing its relationship with the U.S. and its allies with the need to address internal security threats.
Being on the front lines of the war on terror must have come at a cost. What were some of the consequences for Pakistan?
The fight against terrorism has come at a steep price for Pakistan. There's been a tragic loss of life, both civilian and military, and the country's economy has really suffered.
Yeah.
And it's also strained Pakistan's relationships with Western powers as, accusations of not doing enough to combat these groups have led to mistrust and tension.
It sounds like Pakistan has been walking a tightrope in a very challenging geopolitical landscape.
Yeah, it has.
You mentioned economic struggles as well. What are some of the key economic hurdles that Pakistan has faced in recent years?
Well, Pakistan has grappled with persistent poverty, high unemployment, and, a lack of infrastructure development.
Yep.
And while the country possesses immense economic potential, it's been hampered by corruption, political instability, and insufficient investment.
It's a reminder that security concerns and political instability can really have a ripple effect on a nation's economic well-being.
Definitely.
But in the face of these challenges, are there any glimmers of hope on the horizon? Are there any initiatives or developments that offer a potential path towards progress?
There are certainly signs of hope. One notable development is the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, or CPEC.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. What is it exactly?
It's a massive infrastructure project that aims to connect Pakistan's Gwadar port to China's Xinjiang province.
That sounds so ambitious.
It represents a multi-billion-dollar investment that could potentially transform Pakistan's economy.
Wow.
It's envisioned to create jobs, boost trade, and modernize infrastructure.
That's huge.
It's a bold endeavor with the potential to unlock significant economic growth.
It sounds like a potential game changer, but are there any concerns about Pakistan's growing reliance on China?
Sure.
Could there be any downsides to this partnership?
Yeah, that's a valid question, and it's a point of debate within Pakistan. And internationally, some experts express concerns about potential debt traps, environmental impacts, and, the possibility of China exerting undue influence on Pakistan's decision-making.
Right.
It's a complex undertaking with both opportunities and risks that need to be carefully managed.
It seems like navigating those complexities will be crucial for Pakistan's future. But beyond the headlines about politics, conflict, and economics, there's another side to Pakistan, isn't there?
Absolutely.
This vibrant cultural tapestry that often gets overlooked.
Pakistan boasts such a rich and diverse culture. It's a land of poets and musicians, from the soulful traditions of Sufi music to the, vibrant energy of modern pop stars.
Yeah.
And don't forget the national obsession with cricket.
Yeah.
It's practically a religion there.
That passion for cricket is infectious. I remember in that video, they showed those incredible scenes of people pouring into the streets to celebrate victories, even amidst challenges. It's clear that there are these unifying forces that bring Pakistanis together.
It really speaks volumes about the resilience and spirit of the people. Despite the diversity of languages, ethnicities, and regional identities, there are these shared cultural threads that weave the nation together.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that cultural identity can be a powerful source of unity and strength.
So we've covered a lot of ground in our deep dive today, from the ancient Indus Valley civilization to the complexities of the 21st century. Pakistan's journey has been marked by resilience challenges and a constant striving for progress.
We've explored the legacies of empires, the birth of a nation, the struggles for democracy, and the ongoing quest for stability and prosperity. Pakistan's history is a testament to the power of human endurance and the enduring pursuit of a better future.
I think we've given our listeners a really solid understanding of the forces that have shaped Pakistan and the complexities that it faces today. But before we wrap up, I'd like to leave our listeners with a thought-provoking question, considering its historical journey and the dynamics at play today. What do you think the future holds for Pakistan? What role will this nation of over 240 million people play in shaping the destiny of South Asia and the world?
It's a question worth pondering. As Pakistan continues to navigate its path, it has the potential to be a beacon of progress and innovation, but it also faces those persistent challenges of instability and inequality. The choices made by its leaders and its people will ultimately determine the course of its future.
It's a reminder that history is not just a collection of stories from the past. It's a living narrative that continues to unfold And each of us, through our engagement and understanding, can play a role in shaping the next chapter of this story.